Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that quietly, and I mean quietly, impacts our health every single day, our arteries. We're going to look at how the food we choose can either keep them healthy and clear or over time start to clog them. It's a really important conversation for anyone who wants to stay healthy and vibrant for many years to come.
So let's just start with this one powerful question. It's something I'd like you to really consider for yourself. Is your diet building you up, or is it silently working against you? Finding the answer to that is the first step in taking real control of your health. Okay, here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into why this is such a silent problem. Then, we'll get a clear picture of how our arteries are supposed to work in the first place. After that, we'll pinpoint the dietary culprits, but more importantly, we'll focus on all the amazing foods that can protect us. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a simple, practical plan you can start using right away.
So let's begin with probably the biggest challenge when it comes to artery health. The thing is, the changes that lead to major problems, well, they often happen without any warning signs at all, sometimes for years or even decades.
And this right here, this really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? This is not something that happens overnight. This buildup, this plaque, can actually start when we're fairly young and just keep going for decades without us feeling a single thing. And that's exactly why the small choices we make every single day are so incredibly powerful for our long-term health.
All right, so to really get a handle on what can go wrong, we first have to appreciate how our arteries are supposed to work. And honestly, the best way to think about them is as the essential highways of your body, constantly busy, delivering life to every part of you.
Now, there's a medical term for this clogging process. It's called atherosclerosis. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful. But the concept behind it is actually pretty straightforward. Just imagine a clean, open pipe. Now, picture gunk slowly building up on the inside walls. Over time, that gunk furdens and makes the openings smaller and smaller. That's pretty much what's happening inside our arteries.
So how does this happen exactly? Well, it usually unfolds in about 3 stages. First, something causes a little bit of damage to that smooth, delicate inner lining of an artery. Think of it like a tiny scratch. Second, the body tries to repair it, and in the process, cholesterol and other stuff can start to collect at that spot, forming what we call plaque. And finally, as more of that plaque builds up, it grows and hardens, which narrows the artery and makes it tougher for blood to get through.
And that, right there, brings us to the absolute heart of our conversation today. If our lifestyle and diet can actually influence this process, well, then we need to know what the key factors are. So let's take a closer look at the dietary culprits.
Okay, let's be really clear about something. This is not about fearing one specific food. It's really about the overall pattern of what we eat. Diets that are consistently high in things like ultra-processed foods, tons of sugary drinks, and certain types of fats, well, they can promote inflammation and contribute to that cholesterol buildup. And artificial trans fats, in particular, they've been shown to be especially tough on our arteries.
You know, fats can be one of the most confusing parts of nutrition, right? But we can really break it down simply. On one side, we've got the fats we generally want to limit, like saturated and trans fats you often find in processed foods. But on the other side, we have the helpful fats, the good guys, the unsaturated ones you get from things like olive oil, avocados, and nuts. The goal is just to tip the scales in favor of those helpful fats more often than not.
Okay, enough about what we should limit. Let's talk about the really exciting part, the foods we should be adding in. This is the empowering part of the story, where we build up our body's natural defenses. Let's look at the foods that can actively help protect our arteries.
And just look at this list. These are what I like to call our heart-healthy heroes. You've got soluble fiber, found in things like oats and beans, which helps manage cholesterol. You have antioxidants in berries and leafy greens. They're like a protective shield for your arteries. And things like omega-3s in fatty fish and the plant sterols in nuts and seeds, they help cool down inflammation. See? It's not about taking things away, it's about adding more of this good stuff in.
All right, we've talked a lot about the why and the what, but now let's get down to the most important part, the how. This last section is all about creating a plan that's practical, one that's built on small changes you can actually stick with for the long haul.
And this, right here, this is where the magic really happens. Seriously, one of the most effective strategies for lasting change is making simple, consistent swaps. Instead of white bread, maybe you try whole grain. Instead of that sugary soda, how about some sparkling water with a slice of lemon? Cooking with olive oil instead of butter? Or grabbing a handful of almonds instead of processed chips? These little choices, when you add them up over time, they make a massive difference.
And as we start to wrap up, I really want you to hold on to this idea. The goal here is not perfection, it's just progress. Health is a journey, not some finish line you have to cross. So just focus on adding one more protective food to your day, one meal at a time. Be patient with yourself. That's what really counts.
So, I'll leave you with this one simple question, just for you to think about. After everything we've talked about, what's one small, positive choice you can make for your heart today? Because the power to protect your health, it really is in your hands.